Everybody has their different version. The same event witnessed by everybody. If you ask them to tell the story, they tell it differently. For me, I woke up one evening and I saw one lady talking with my roommate. That was my first time off. And I looked at her, I was like, oh, I know this girl. Oh, this is the girl I always see when I go to fetch water to go to take my bath in the morning. The same time, she's always as if she's killed like a robot, you know. That was my first impression. What's this girl doing in my room? And that was my first encounter with her. If you ask her how she met me when she met me, that probably may not have been her first time of sighting me or knowing me. But this is my first time waking up. And what happened was that there was this demonstration or riot. You know, we were both from the same school, University of Nigeria campus. So I think there was this demonstration. And my roommate happens to come from the same village like her, the same town like her. So she didn't want to be involved in the demonstration in the school. So she came to the PG hostel, postgraduate hostel, to seek refuge. You know, staying away from the riot. She didn't want to be part of the protesters. So that's why she came to my room, basically. And for me, when I woke up, when she came, I was sleeping. So when I woke up and I heard my roommate having a chat with one girl, and I woke up, I saw the girl, and the first one, oh, this is the girl I normally see every morning when I'm still looking for water to take my bath. She's already ready, going to school. Because I took note of her. You know, the way she's always serious, going to lectures. She's ready to go for lectures, so me, I'm still looking for water to take my bath to pray for the day. So I took note of her. I said, that's the same girl. So for me, that was the first encounter.
Well, basically, we met in school. I was in first year, my undergraduate, and he was in his first year postgraduate. And we were in the same fellowship, yeah. Yeah,
sure.
You know, you can be loud in the fellowship, so.
Very loud. Everywhere I am, I'm always loud.
Especially during family meeting.
Oh, yeah, I say my mind.
Yeah, so, and so that was basically that. And because my townsperson was his roommate at that time, so that was what kind of brought us close. So, I mean, close to the point that I could be in school and they would go to town because we schooled in Enugu and my parents lived in Enugu. So he would go to our place and eat and all that. Yeah. And even sometimes we go home during Christmas and he comes with his friend. So that was the closeness, the extent of closeness, and it wasn't really anything beyond that per se. So we knew, yeah. Leave that word.
Yeah, you know, my wife doesn't like the word dating. Yeah, you know, because in actual sense, people have bastardized the word. But we are just friends. We are close friends. And I'm this kind of person that when I like you for a reason, I tend to get close to you. You know, for me, what drew me close to her was I normally go to see a friend of mine in her room. So this my female friend, regular female friend, was her roommate. You know, they stay in the same place. So when I go to see her, her bed is so made up that it looks like she put the bed sheet on it and used iron to iron it. So you'd be so scared to sit on her bed. She was so clean, so prim, so proper. Her Bible, things, pillow in the same position. Anytime I come to that room, I see everything as if she never used it. But she uses it every night. So it's talk. So each time I go to see my friends, I see her bed. You know, this is like her bed. Then the next bed is my friend who I'm going to see. You know, at times, in those days now, you could sit in the person's bed opposite. But my fear not the agree me still because I know I cannot make that bed the way she has made it. So let me not spoil it for her. So that was just the kind of encounter that registered. And from that moment, I knew I needed this person in my life. Or somebody like this, not her. You know, something in me told me that any day you want to get married, this is who you need. I didn't know her then, but Just the setting. I love cleanliness. The only way to get to me is to be clean. No matter what I like about you, for me to take the next step, you must be a clean person. I love cleanliness. I love cleanliness, neatness, planning. So immediately I saw that thing about her. Without knowing who owns it, I've let God to find out who owns it. That was what I wanted as part of my life. Somebody who will always keep my life like this. Basically, that was what I saw.
For 2 years, we were together in school, right?
Yeah, sure.
And he then graduated after 2 years. So by the time I was entering my 3rd year, he was going for his youth service. And while he was in his youth service, we were not communicating really. You know, then there was no GSM, so there was no communication. It was only landlines. So let's say we were just loose acquaintances during the 2 years. And then at the end of the 2 years, he sent a message across and said he wanted to come and see me. We were to go for missionary work. By this time, I had just finished my degree exam, the same week that I finished my degree exam. And so he comes to Enugu. I had to wait. I couldn't go for the missionary work because I needed to stay back to see him. And then he comes and he proposes, right? I remember vividly that as he was seeing me off that day, he told me that he was going to wed next year. And I'm like, you just proposed to me. I've not prayed. I've not thought about it. You're telling me you're going to wed next year. So are you trying to say that, are you trying to intimidate me, you know? So I said, no. He's just telling me that according to his agenda, he will wed next year. He didn't have to be with me, but that was his agenda. So he had his plans about how he wanted his life to run, you know. So he said, no, it mustn't be you. But I proposed to you, Father. So if you agree, I had to be with you. So
well, that's the truth.
Yeah. So I actually started praying about that, and that was like for 2 months. So at the end of the 2 months, he showed up one day in my house. He didn't give any notice. He didn't say he was coming. And so when he came, I was still battling. My mind wasn't made up exactly. There were more than one proposal, okay? So it was a hell of time for me trying to sort out, and the people were giving their own ideas and all that. And I actually met some people. I talked to people who know him, who were with us in school. As well, I talked to people who know the other people, you understand? At least there were some people, but let's say I was actually praying about 2 people at the end of the day. So along the line, I eliminated some other people for different reasons. And so I was now praying concerning 2 of them. So I spoke to people who knew them, senior friends who knew them, people who were, the other person is a medical doctor, so there are people who were medical students and all that. And people who also were co-senior friends with that person, because the person had also left from our school fellowship years earlier. So all that went on, and then he came up that day. I didn't have an answer, but then I said, is there any reason for saying no? He said, well, no reason for saying no. So let me say a yes. So I told him yes. And I spoke to my spiritual father after then. He said, why don't you go and tell the other people that you were not going ahead? And so I went to talk to this person to say, actually, I prayed and I don't think we'll be going ahead. And the reaction made me to feel maybe I didn't make the right choice. Maybe I was wrong after all. Why? Because obviously the decision I made before was based on sentiments, okay? My mind was not fully made up. It was more about let him not waste his transport money and all that, you know. So that, of course, the moment it was challenged, couldn't stand. So I called him and I told him through a landline, I said, I'm sorry, that thing I said, I want to pause it. Let me pray more.
Okay.
And
okay, yeah, and you continue to pray. But you see, the part I want to stress here is this. You know, for young people, you know, they take love to be a feeling. when I was leaving school, I had this girl I could say I was in love with. To the fact that the day I was to leave school, finally, she was crying and crying. And the girl wasn't herself for upwards to a month or two after I left school, you know. But for me, I liked her. We shared them. But see, marriage is not boyfriend and girlfriend, though. Marriage is not boyfriend and girlfriend. Love has no feeling. Love is a decision and a commitment. So, you see, when I made up my mind to get married, like I said, I remember that bed. You see, we need to teach young people what works. Love is not feeling. It's not a butterfly. Yeah, that girl was there. The girl I had so much feeling. The girl that cried, and her friends, her relations were calling me. This girl wants to faint. This girl wants, she's dying because of you. Nah. Marriage is not boyfriend, girlfriend. It's not. You have to know that this is what I want to live with. You can't live with feelings. Don't last forever. Feelings don't last forever. Feelings come and go. Something ignited the feeling, and it was bound to die someday. But for me, I keep remembering this girl that each time I go to her room, that girl that had that excellent bed. And as I interacted, as I got to know her, I found out that she was such a regimented person. I'm not regimented. For me, I'm the spur of the moment person. I take my decision what I'm seeing now. Not with her. She's so planful. She will plan for the next month, next 2 months. I don't plan anything. It's as I see I'm now. That's how I react to it. So I knew for sure that I needed this girl in my life. You know, the journey is a long one. It's not feeling matter. So all those butterfly feelings didn't count for me. You know, when God gives you wisdom in life, you get to know there are things you need to. So when it was time for me to get married, trust me, all those I had those butterflies for. Yeah, I knew I love and enjoy butterfly, but I knew they were just for a few kilometers of life. You know, the life has millions of kilometers ahead of you. There are things that will carry you there. So I had to go for her at all cost, whatever, you know, whether I was, and I had known the kind of person. So that when I approached her, like I said, I liked her. She had a pretty, you can see, pretty. So, but there were qualities beyond being beautiful. There were qualities. I keep telling you, look beyond her being beautiful. Forget her face. Forget her looks. Will you wake up tomorrow and you still want this person beside you? Because the person you're having beside you, you won't see the face. When you wake up, it's not her face she used to serve you, help you out, boil water, you know. I have a bed that I have to wake up from every morning. I want to go to the bathroom, come and see that bed well made. Are you going to marry somebody as careless as you are? It happens to both. There are men like that, and there are women who are like me, who are that careless. You know, so you find out.
So that means you look for somebody to compliment you.
Somebody to compliment you. Somebody
looking
who.
At the person's character.
Yes.
Not just what you feel for the person, because what you feel for the person
you will die
is
of.
not going to be for lifetime.
At all. For instance, you know, I know it shocks people to know that I'm very playful, but I don't like going out. I'm not an outgoing person. But if you see me in my immediate domain, I'm very playful. But you see, Tog, the only wedding I've attended from beginning to wedding is my own wedding. I don't go to weddings, I don't go to parties, I don't go for birthday parties, I don't go for events, I don't. Just live in my house.
You go now out of duty.
Yeah, now it's out of responsibility, still work. But ordinarily, the normal me, if I'm not in the office, I should be in church. If I'm not in church, I'm at home. But to be in any joint, taking one Fanta or Coke, I'll buy it and bring it to my house. But my wife, she's quiet. But at the same time, if you invite her for an event, she will go. You see, I'm an indoor person. But if you meet me in my own immediate domain, I can. If you see me people are meeting for the first time, you won't believe I've not seen them in my life. The way I will flow with them, you think we have always known. You know? So I just see there a lot of things about me that
I seem to be the opposite.
She's the opposite. Not seem to be. She's not same. She's the opposite. And that's why we flow. And but over time, like if the incidents of going out and not going out, she has come to, initially she didn't find it funny. Yeah. A relation will be wedding. I tell her, bye, Jerry. Just greet them for me. You know, she didn't find it funny, you know, at the initial stage. Yeah. But gradually, she adjusted, come to know, this my husband doesn't like going out. He just likes staying in his house.
I know it's not the question we asked, but I think I need to talk about how I made that adjustment, because I really didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that if we're invited to somewhere, I'm going alone, he's not going with me. Yeah, sometimes he was busy, but not all the time. There were also times he simply laid on the bed and told me, I want to rest. I've worked so hard, I need to rest. I'm not going anywhere. And so at such times, I would feel very bad. So I go for the event. It might even be from his side. Maybe his relative was the person's wedding. And I go for the event. I get there and I'm smiling. And they're asking after him. And I'm telling them, oh, sorry, he couldn't make it. And then I'm feeling bad that I had to drive all the way to the place alone. So I used to be really, really angry about it, you know. But when over time I realized that this is who he is, you're not going to change it. So, and I can't keep being unhappy over it. So I had to look for a way out. I had to vent. I've been venting, praying, but that day I vented on paper. I brought a paper and I started writing everything I felt. I could tell him. I wasn't telling him, but I was writing it down, but I was writing like I was telling him. How I felt very bad about it, how whatever, all the negative feelings, I put them on paper, right? And I kept it away and I just let it go. And from that day going forward, if we have an invitation, I just have a spot where we keep IVs in the room. I drop it there. If he comes back, I say, we have an IV, and that's the end of it. I'm not discussing how we're going, whether he's going. I'm not talking about it. I'm just getting ready to go.
When you vented, did he see your notes?
No, I didn't give him. I vented. I didn't give, because already I've told him that I vented for my peace of mind. Yeah, I didn't give him. He didn't see it. So I just because if he were to see the things I wrote there, oh my goodness, maybe we will split. I said it like I felt it, but I can't give him that kind of thing. Yeah. So I kept it aside, and so I just addressed it in my mind. See, the man you married is this kind of person, so I'm going to adjust, and I did. So I started preparing for things alone, and any day he now says, "Oh, I'm going with you," I'll be like, "Wow, you really are!" I'll be so excited about it. But I wasn't expecting it, so that's why I will be excited, you know. So, and that's how we started doing it. And that's where we are today. So that thing never became an issue anymore after that. In fact, years later, I came across people and I laughed a good laugh. See all the things that I put down, yeah. And then he did something. He said he had my picture, and he felt, I'm sure that this is the person I should be getting married to. So he started praying over the picture. He prayed over the picture. He even anointed the picture, anointed himself.
Yeah.
And then he arranged with a friend. And since I was going for service, he made me come to Lagos by, telling my parents, oh, she can come to Lagos and write for a test for her youth service. And so I was glad about coming to Lagos to come and write a test. This was like maybe 3 weeks after. So I came to Lagos, and I actually expected him to be frowning at me when he came to meet me at the park. He was smiling. I was like, wow. I thought he's very happy with me, And I had a relation who was staying very far away, but he made an arrangement for me to stay with a church member very close by. So I was in Lagos for 2 weeks. And that 2 weeks we were seen on a daily basis. And during the 2 weeks, there were certain things he did that were quite outstanding as far as I'm concerned. One was, he was going to get an apartment. He was working with someone up to this time. So he was going to get an apartment, and then the money he had raised to use to pay for it, he gave it to me to hold. I'm like, wow. Somebody that you're not even engaged to, It was a lot of money. And then when he found somewhere he loved, they told him people were coming for this place. He said, no, just don't worry. There's somebody I want to see this place. So he waited for me to come and see the place. So when I saw the place and I said, oh, it's good, he said, fine, now we can go ahead. So I felt, oh, this is somebody who respects my decisions. He wants my opinion. And so these were he did a lot of other things, so they made a lot of inspiration on me. And then he used to have a lot of girlfriends in school.
Yeah.
So we also talked about it. I said, oh, those are your girlfriends. Why did you propose to them? And stuff like that. So it's like all the fears I had kind of were taken care of. No, let me not say all the fears that I had, but at least some major fears that I had were taken care of. So when at the end of the 2 weeks, he got a ring and gave me, and that's where we're here today.
That's great.